Welcome to another episode of the Unquestionably Raw podcast. Today we are previewing the Golden State Warriors 2016-2017 NBA season. It's one of our last previews for this year. So we were fortunate enough to have Byron on here to kind of have his hot takes to go against our Warrior kind of predictions. So this definitely should be interesting for you listeners. So going into the first question, Matt, I'm going to you first. Looking at the starting lineup, you've got Steph Curry at the point guard spot, Klay at the shooting guard, Kevin Durant at the small forward, Draymond Green at power forward, and Zaza Pachulia at center. What do you look for out of Zaza and Kevin Durant to bring new to this team this year?
This is going to be a very scary starting lineup, especially on the offensive end of the floor, because essentially you're replacing Harrison Barnes with Kevin Durant, who's arguably one of the best three players in the NBA. That's scary. And Zaza Pachulia offensively, he's not as good of a passer as Bogut, but he can pass the basketball, and he can stick a 15-foot jump shot, even out to 17, 19 feet, and he'll make free throws. So that hack a Bogut shit that they were doing all year, that's not going to happen with this team on the floor. Now, they're going to lose a little bit defensively with this starting group because obviously Z-Patch is not a great rim protector. Kevin Durant will be fine defensively. He can block some shots. But I think the center position defensively is where they'll lose a little bit, but you can always bring a guy like Mr. Shaqtin' a Fool in the game, and he can maybe block some shots. But overall, this team is, based on what I've seen, and I thought they were going to struggle at first, take some time getting used to each other. From what I'm seeing in the preseason, they're in midseason form already. The transition has been smooth, and I thought it would take time, but Kevin Durant has fit right in.
Absolutely. Byron, looking at Kevin Durant and Zaza Pachulia, what do you kind of foresee happening this season with Golden State?
Like I've always said, that team is deeper than the ocean. I mean, Kevin Durant is the only two players I could probably put before him, and LeBron James and Curry, of course. I don't think they're gonna have any problem fitting in with that starting lineup. I gotta go with what Matt said about Zaza. Not maybe as physical as Bogut was, but he will nail the jumpers. So you're going to lose a little bit of your strength and, probably some rebounding. But, I mean, he's a shooter too. And he's only going to be motivated by being surrounded with a bunch of shooters. So, I think starting lineup it's scary. If you're on an opposing team, that's pretty scary, man. You got so many weapons. And then Matt didn't even mention Draymond Green. The guys,
I didn't. Wow.
From what I've seen thus far, they look like they're having fun. Mm-hmm. They look like they're having a good time out there. And we know I'm the alleged Warriors hater, but the thing about basketball, the game of basketball, is I think the way they're looking now, and I'm not making any prediction, and you know how I feel about comparisons, but I remember when the 72-10 Bulls started off, it looked like they were just having the time of their lives on the court. And that's scary too. So.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing, obviously, Durant brings is scoring. But you're going to see from the defenses, who do they really have, they guard, because everybody on that team is a lethal asset. So even Zaza in the middle, he can score if needed. More of a guy that can kind of do a little bit of the dirty work, set screens, things like that. But it's going to be amazing to see Draymond being able to play that facilitator role, bringing the ball up and things like that. Durant firing away, Curry firing away. Klay Thompson, who many think that is going to take a step back, he's still going to get shots, and he's going to get more efficient looks. Everybody on that team is going to get more efficient looks. The only downgrade you have is obviously a rim protector, losing Bogut and having Zaza there. And then the passing, because Bogut was a good passer out of the post. So, hopefully you'll see Durant kind of get down there in the post and, kind of work that a little bit. Klay Thompson can work smaller two guards down on the post, and that's going to open up looks for Draymond from three, and of course Steph Curry firing away. So definitely going to be interesting. Teams better look out because they're already starting to gel, and it doesn't look like it's going to take them very long once the regular season starts to get going. So going to the key reserves, you've got David West, Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston. They're going to be the core guys there. Anderson Varejao and JaVale McGee are going to kind of sprinkle in to be the backup big. And then you've got Ian Clark and Patrick McCall as shooters off the bench. And some of the other guys, Kevon Looney, James McAdoo, and Damian James or Jones, they're not going to be counted on very much this season. But I like what Looney can do. Matt, what do you think as far as the bench goes?
I'm not going to touch on West, Iguodala or Livingston or Varejao. We know what they bring to the table. But David West, I think, is going to be an intriguing piece for this team. Can come in and make shots for them and rebound. I don't know how much he'll bring defensively to that second unit. But I think this will with McGee and Varejao, I think it'll kind of depend on the matchup. If they need more rim protecting, then I think you'll see McGee more. And Kevon Looney, he looked, just watching last night a little bit, with all those studs out there, driving to the basket and all that stuff with Curry, Thompson, and Durant. He just really attacks that basket, just dives in there, and he was getting so many dunks just cutting to the basket. He seems to be a really smart basketball player on this team. He's not just standing. He's actually moving around, getting into good spots so that he can get dunks and layups. So he may actually be an intriguing piece for them. And he was a good freshman at UCLA.
Yeah, absolutely. He was hurt last season, so that's going to be something that the Warriors look at to get him involved more is when they need an athletic guy to be able to make those cuts and get to the rim. They can have a kind of difference from David West. West can still kind of stretch the floor and do some things down low, so he's going to be an asset too. It's just, endless combinations off the bench for them. Byron, looking at the bench, what do you think of some of the guys, David West, Iguodala, Livingston, some of those?
Well, I wanted to talk about David West because I've seen him before, and I think he has a toughness and a fearlessness to him, and he doesn't really back down. And I think that he will be what they wanted. What's the guy most space to be? Last year. But he's a better scorer, little more agile, still kind of a big body. But the reason why I bring him up is I remember when he was playing with, I want to say Indiana, was it? When they played the Heat. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't backing down from LeBron. And he was kind of like, he was giving them some issues, man, and giving their team issues, man. And you need that mental toughness, and he has that. And coming off the bench, it's going to be a good boost for this team, when they face the likes of a LeBron James, So thinking in the picture, because they're the favorite to come out of the West and make it to the finals. And we know Cleveland is the favorite from the East. So guys like him will definitely come in handy. JaVale McGee, if he can, he has, Steve Kerr just won't allow his
foolishness.
He won't allow his last name ought to be Looney because he's about as good as one. But I think that when you get with a team like that has the poise that this team has, he won't do those foolish things. And I think that if he finds his role, like Stacey King, like a Jason Caffey did on those Bulls teams, he'll do just fine. Varejao. He's going to be Varejao. I mean, I think he's hungry. We know he's not a scorer, but he's going to go in there defensively and do some things. And he'll be used. And it looks like this team is going to blow out a lot of teams, and he will get garbage minutes. Now, one person I want to talk about is Sean Livingston. He has a lot to prove because although he had his moments in the playoffs and in the finals last year, I don't think he played as well as he did the previous year when they beat Cleveland. I guess 2 seasons ago now. So there's a lot to prove for him. He's only going to improve because now you've got a Durant there. And I think like the camaraderie for that team is going to be a boost for his mental, if that makes any sense. You know, when you got Durant, when you got Thompson, and you know, of course,
Steph Curry,
you know, and they're all shooters. They're good shooters, and they seem to like each other. Even Draymond, their camaraderie seems good. I think that it'll boost him mentally, and he will do well, and he will improve. And like I said, he wants to come off the bench and give those guys a break and give those guys a rest.
Mm-hmm.
So he's very, very important, I think, to their bench. And, you know,
Livingston.
That's all I have to say about the bench.
Yeah, Livingston's going to be able to come in, you know, change a pace guard. He's going to be able to post up the smaller guards. You know, he's very good in the low post. And David West, obviously, we know what he can do there. But McGee is going to be the most intriguing because not a lot of people know he's actually pretty smart. He made stupid plays and was on Shaq in the Fool quite a bit, but he actually has a really high IQ. And those that don't know, his mom was a WNBA player and really skilled. And I think you're going to see a different side of JaVale McGee this year, especially under the tutelage of Steve Kerr. He's going to be more disciplined, there to block shots, rebound, get out in transition, and get some easy dunks. Mm-hmm. So definitely curious to kind of see the makeup of the second unit. Iguodala is going to be there as your defender. He's going to get you some easy buckets now and again. Varejao is the question mark because he can't really move. So I can see McGee kind of playing more minutes this season than Varejao does, just for the sake of saving Varejao for the playoffs. So that's very realistic there. With Ian Clark and Patrick McCall, they're both shooters. Matt, who do you think wins the battle to be the backup?
I think at the start I'm going to go with Ian Clark just because being with the club last year, championship experience, being in the finals twice now, good shooter, can make open threes, can play a little defense, and McCaw is still a rookie, you know, and being thrust onto a team like this, you know, maybe give him a little bit. I think you'll see him in the D League a little bit just to get some playing time. But he looks like he's going to be a really good player. You're seeing the clutch gene already, albeit the preseason. But, you know, I'm going to have to go with Ian Clark on this one for now.
Okay.
But Kerr has said he will use McCaw in the rotation from time to time. So they really like him there.
Yeah. And looking at McCaw as a rookie is not necessarily, you know, something most championship contending teams would look at, but McCall's got a special skill set. So, Byron, who do you think wins that matchup?
Okay, now I do recall Ian Clark, you know, and seeing him, you know, get some garbage time, seeing him step up. And I thought he was kind of scary, you know, at moments because, you know, like Matt said, he can shoot. I remember what I saw him do. I think he definitely wins it. Now, I did also see McCall. Now, this is what I have to say. Give the guy opportunity. My reason being is this. This team, these guys are young. They have the potential to be like what the Lakers were in the 80s. And if you remember, if you go back and look at those 80s, 1980s Lakers teams, you know, we're all fairly young. You had guys like Kareem. You had I'm about to say Shaq. You had Magic. You have James Worthy, right? You have the defensive guy, Matt, help me out.
Oh, you're talking about Michael Cooper.
You have Coop, right? You have Byron Scott. Then you have guys like AC Green. You know what I mean? Who was like he was the team was already like winning, and they were a contender. And you get a guy like AC Green that comes in there, and he has an opportunity to learn from the likes of like a Kareem, a Magic, and develop and be a key player in these championship runs. So I say give the kid a shot, you know, and let him get in there and get that experience, get around those other guys. Because when you come into a winning situation, it's easier to know your role and be a bigger and a better asset, you know, and do exactly what they need you to do. And if he can come in there with that attitude and they give him a shot and he's given the opportunity, then he can really, really develop and earn a name for himself. And if it doesn't work out with his team, somebody else will take him.
Absolutely. McCall is 6'7" compared to Ian Clark being about 6'3". So the athleticism of McCall is going to help. Obviously, his shooting is the strongest point, but defensively, he's going to be able to guard the bigger twos that Ian Clark can't. So it's not going to be as much as of a liability there on defense. With McCall, I look for him to get decent minutes right around the All-Star break, consistently in the rotation. I think he's going to actually end up overtaking Ian Clark, quite easily as the season moves on, and I think he's going to be able to hit some shots, and blend in pretty well. So looking at the second question, basically, the Warriors have the second best small forward in the NBA on their team now in Kevin Durant. With so many faces having to adapt to the team, what are they going to look like different than last year, if anything, on offense, Matt?
I think offensively they're pretty much you're going to see the same basic system. I mean, you may see some slight little tweaks here and there because on situations like you have Curry, if he can lob it up, Bogut will go get it and dunk it. You can't do that with Pachulia. But on a flip side of that, Pachulia can stick the medium range jumper and make free throws. So it kind of cancels each other out, I think. So I think offensively they're going to be the same. And I think they'll do the same things defensively. They just won't have that rim protector in there with Pachulia like they did with Bogut. And I'm going to go to my stats here. Golden State was number 2 in pace last year. That's going to be the same. They could be number 1 this year. And then offensive rating, they were number 1. Defensive rating, they were number 5. I don't see much of a change there. I think they're going to be the number 1 offensive team again, most efficient team. Obviously, they're going to get so many good looks defensively. They'll be in the top 5 again.
Okay, Byron, what do you think? Any changes from last year?
Well, as you posed the question to Matt, what did you think about the offense? Mm-hmm. I think they're like immortal. It's like you're playing offensively. What these guys can do, it's like you're playing the starting 5 from Professor Xavier's school of the Gifted. I mean, it's like you're playing the X-Men, bro. It's unbelievable. As basically, your question is at the small forward position. Is that what you wanted me to talk about? Or
overall, I mean, you can talk about Durant, kind of what he's going to bring as one of the many new faces. Looking at the defensive side of the ball, do you think there's going to be any changes there last year? Obviously, Bogut's a change.
They play really good team defense, and I think that the catalyst for that defense is definitely Draymond Green. And now you got a guy like Durant who will get out and defend, and he proved that last year, with the exception of I think Game 5 when Clay caught fire and hit the 11 threes. I think that he's proven that he will get out there and defend too. So I think they've always played excellent team defense. I don't think there'll be a lot of changes.
Okay, I definitely agree there. So going to the next question, we obviously know what their strengths are, but looking at a weakness for the Warriors, what would it be, Matt?
I don't think this team has a weakness. Much like the Spurs, I don't think the Spurs really had a weakness. If anything, I think the question mark will be what are they going to get from the bench with the new faces. I think that's the only real question mark you would have with this team because the coaching is top-notch. What you get from the starting lineup, it's like you said, it's like, they're a bunch of superheroes, basically, a bunch of immortals. But I think the biggest question mark is probably the bench, if there is a question mark with this team.
Okay. Byron, do you see a weakness for the Warriors this year?
I think the weakness is going to be like ego, and we saw that last season, and we're kind of seeing it in the preseason, like the pass that Steph was throwing, he's behind the back. Durant could have got injured. A buddy of mine posted that online. It's like, man, the way – stick to the fundamentals. Okay, I understand that you're having fun, but it was that same, pious or that same, or I should say rather, that same conceited attitude is what was their downfall last year. And they're a new team, and they know what an asset Durant is to that team. They know this. But I think that they still have to remain humble and focused, because if they don't and they get a little loose, they're going to blow it again, you know? So I think their biggest weakness is going to be their focus.
Okay.
Or it could be their focus, and just all of the excitement with having such a deep team and with having an addition like Kevin Durant. So I'll just say focus.
Okay. The biggest question mark for me, I would say, I don't know how much of a weakness it's going to be, but it could be as close as you're going to get to a weakness for them, is going to be rim protection, because Draymond's only about 6'6", 6'7", somewhere in that range, and Zaza does not protect the rim. So you're relying on a weak side defender, like basically Durant coming over, kind of swatting some shots kind of off that weak side. You're expecting JaVale McGee to play a good bit, kind of swat some shots at the rim. So if anything, that would be the thing that they have to tighten up the most, just making sure that their switches on defense are there, so they're not having to rely on so much rim protection and kind of expose a flaw, so to speak. So what is the most, or who is the most vital player this season to the Golden State Warriors? Byron, I'm going to go to you first.
Interesting. Well, I would say there are two people that are vital, and I think number one is it's a tie between Curry and Durant, and my reason for saying that is, like, Curry is the leader. People made a lot of excuses for him last year, or this past season, earlier this year, for them not getting the chip, you know. And I feel like he had his moments, but he did not lead like he did in the previous season. Okay, and I think number two, Durant, is vital, because this team is out for blood because of the way they lost last year. Now, they had to join forces with Durant had to come to that team, because the fact of the matter is they cannot beat LeBron James. LeBron has defeated them. I think that Durant is hungry for a title, just a chip, but the rest of the team is hungry for revenge. They want to return to Cleveland what they did to them. And I think that, like, Durant is vital in the sense that, yes, he did lose a championship to LeBron James. It's not as recent as these guys, but he has to be on that same accord. They have to really be on one accord. Whatever their motivation is, I think they have to be on. Those two guys have to be on the same accord. Durant for his first, and Curry to show that he's a leader and he can lead this team for seasons to come, because, like I said, he's still a young guy. And he's also contending for his name to be among the greats as far as, like, collecting rings and winning. That's what it's about, winning. You know, you play to win. So,
Matt, going to you.
I've got to go with Draymond Green. We saw. I'm going to say it, Byron and I, he doesn't like to play the what ifs. Damn it, we're going to play what if. He doesn't get suspended Game 5, they win the championship. They mentioned it, they've mentioned it many times on TV. I know guys don't like to play the what if game. It's the damn truth. I don't care what people say. So you see just how vital he was to that team. He makes everything work for them. He's the anchor of the defense, but he makes the offense work with his ability to dribble, pass, shoot.
Absolutely. That was going to be my pick as well, Matt. So that's a good point that you bring up. Byron, I'm going to go back, and I don't want to make it a lengthy discussion just because, we kind of want to get to the next question. But I want to look at, you mentioned that LeBron kind of beat the Warriors, and I don't know as much as I like that the Cavs, were able to beat adversity, so to speak, and come back and win. I don't know if as much LeBron beating them as it was the Warriors just breaking down and not, focusing and making smart basketball plays, especially throughout Game 7. I think basically they were shell-shocked when Draymond got suspended, and they just couldn't recover from that. Now, I'll give Kyrie and I'll give LeBron their due. I think they played, very well, but I think the Warriors did it to themselves, especially Game 6 and 7.
But with that said, Pete, you got to give Cleveland credit because they still won. They still won 3 games in a row.
Yeah, absolutely.
They won Game 6. Yeah, you and I will agree. We think Warriors would have won it in 5 green plays, but they still had their whole team Game 6 and 7. Bogut got hurt, but
I don't want to make this long and drawn out.
No, that's what I was going to say. You still got to give Cleveland credit. They won 3 in a row.
I give them credit. I give them all the credit that is due. But
they're the champs.
Just LeBron.
Well, here's what you got to give credence to. Okay, if Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving play in 2015, then they win the series. Because if you remember, until Kerr started playing with the lineups and he started Iguodala, that even without them, it was a good series. But once he put Iguodala in the starting lineup, that whole series changed and they lost. And you have to understand, it still won 6 games. When LeBron was dependent on Shumpert and Smith and Della Vadova, and I think that we're not giving the attention to that. No, people are highlighting that as they are Draymond Green. And another thing that keeps coming up, Draymond Green should have been suspended sometime in that Warriors OKC series. So I think it was long overdue. And people talk about, there's no way he should have come back. Well, really, there's no way that. To me, I don't think that the Warriors should have come back in that series.
In that series, they came back though. Draymond Green should have been suspended. They lost. They lost anyway. They lost anyways.
So here's what I'm saying. No. But here's what I'm saying. Give some credence to that too, because if they suspend Draymond Green in like Game 4 of that series, Game 5. Then
if they would have suspended game, but they suspended him for Game 4, and they still lost. Or they didn't suspend him. He would have been suspended for Game 4 against the Thunder, but they lost anyway, so they got pounded.
My thing is just like, honestly, the team that I think should have come out of the West last year was OKC. So we really got to stop with this Draymond Green suspended 1 game. They even Iguodala admitted himself. He said it, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna let it go. He said the team that they were more afraid of was OKC than they ever were Cleveland. So what do? They go and they get in Durant's ear. They get some help from the logo, Jerry West, to bring him to their team because they know that they'd rather play with them than play against them, and they know also that's their best chance of beating the Cavs. If you really want to be fair. And I'm gonna tell you why I don't like this team. I'm gonna say this too.
Here we go. I can't wait to hear this.
We'll go back to that. Let me jump to the next to kind of segue the next question. Then you can go, Byron. So, looking at the expectations, obviously, it's to win a championship. With all the new guys, 2-part question? Did they finish first because of so many new guys? So many different roles. Did they finish first in the West? And second part of it, do they win the championship? All right, go ahead, Byron.
You can go to Matt first. You want to save me for the end.
All right, I'll take it. Where do they finish in the West?
I'll make people mad today.
They're gonna finish first in the West, and yes, they are going to win the championship.
Oh boy.
Okay.
You go, Pete, because I cannot wait to hear what Byron has to say.
All right, I'm going to go. I think I do not think that they try to go for any kind of record. I think they're going to be right around 67, 68 wins easily. They are going to win the NBA championship. There's no doubt in my mind that they win the NBA championship. So now what we've all been waiting for is Byron. So go ahead. The floor is yours, Byron. I do have to cap it on about 3 minutes.
You got to worry about me rambling, man. Y'all have we worked on that. You notice I had one little ramble.
Go on, Byron.
We've got another question.
Will they finish first in the West? Absolutely.
Okay.
I'd be foolish to say, that. I mean, is the Pope Catholic? 100%. Uh, uh,
Do they win the championship?
Do they win the championship? No.
Wow. Okay. So let me ask you this. Do they fall short in the West and not make the finals? Or do they make the finals and lose to Cleveland again potentially?
It's a coin toss. I think that this team is going. Well, you know what? I'll give them more respect than that. I'll say they lose in the finals.
Okay, I was about to say, because my next question was going to be, who the hell is going to take them out in the West? All right, so you have them losing to Cleveland in the finals, essentially, is what you're telling me, right?
Yes, again.
Okay. I mean, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
We have evidence. We can go back and listen to this on.
Yeah, we got it. Yep.
So you heard it first. They lose again.
All right. Well, that takes us into the last question of this season preview for the Warriors. Give me a bold prediction for the Warriors this year, Matt.
This is as bold as I can go because I mean, picking them to win the championship, that's not bold. I'm gonna say they will lose to the Sacramento Kings the first time they play in Sacramento, and they will lose to Oklahoma City in Oklahoma City the first time.
Okay.
And Russell Westbrook's gonna destroy them.
Okay. All right. Byron, what's your bold prediction for the Warriors, other than them not winning the championship?
I think that there's probably going to be, and I hate to say this because I don't want to I don't like speaking negative things to existence, but I think there's probably going to be some injuries, and that's going to mess up their rhythm. I think Klay Thompson will become a problem because there's not going to be enough touches for him. I think he's going to struggle to find his place, and then that whole privileged, spoiled child that's going to come out. He's going to start.
Yes.
He's going to start crying again about people having their feelings hurt and them being entitled, and like a lot of rich, spoiled kids do. And maybe he'll find his identity. Maybe he will realize this season, am I black? Am I white? What am I?
Damn.
All right. So my bold prediction is that the Warriors, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry combined for 74 points combined.
Nice.
So I've got, just potentially looking at it, I've got 27 for Durant, 25 for Curry, and 21 to 22, somewhere in that range for
Dang, so no drop. That means no drop off for Klay Thompson.
No, I think the drop off is going to come from Draymond Green. I think he takes more of a facilitating role. Doesn't.
So that means that'd be a drop off for Curry too. 5 points a game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Curry takes a drop off because he's going to have more assists this year, and he's not going to have to look to score as much. I think you're going to see some of the role players kind of get bits and pieces of some scattered points as well. So that's just kind of a bold prediction for me there. So that is going to wrap up the Golden State Warriors 2016-2017 NBA season. We want to look for all of the comments in the comment section.
I got to speak on that real quick. So we had a troll. We had a troll in the chat, Jackson Fonseca. I had to go in there and block him because there were some comments in there that did not need to be made. Had nothing to do with anything we were talking about.
Okay, yeah.
So just to let everyone know, if you're going to come in and troll, you will be blocked. There's no need for the crap.
Absolutely, and if there's any kind of trolling as far as we're all for constructive feedback, but if you start cursing and things like that, getting way out of hand away from basketball, we will report the comments and they won't be posted anymore. So please, intelligent fans only, you don't have to agree with our point of view, but we want to make sure, to keep it.
It had nothing to do with basketball.
Yeah, we want to keep it friendly and go that route. So speaking of our videos, you can check out all of our previous season previews underneath the Unquestionably Raw podcast on YouTube. And then you can go to iTunes, subscribe to the channel, give us a 5-star written review. You can check out all of the videos throughout the season. We're making our way to the last season preview, which will be is going to be on Sunday. We don't have a time yet set for that, but it's going to be the Dallas Mavericks Monday, we're rolling into our season preview show. We've got Keith Smith from Real GM. He's coming back on. We're going to predict all of the season awards, the playoffs, and some other fun stuff as well. So look out for that. And as we get into the season, we're going to do 2 podcasts per week, just discussing some of the key games and just wrapping up some key analysis throughout the season. So thanks to everybody for joining in on this Golden State Warriors preview, and then we will see you on Sunday.